Welcome to the talk show Life Stories with Marc Hoberman. The goal of this show is to provide a learning experience to people of all ages, with guests from various fields in academics, a wide range of industries, and insight into the many forms of art, athletics, and entertainment. We hope you enjoy the show. Today's guest is former professional football player Michael Blair. Michael talks about his experiences in professional sports, as well as the incredible story of his work with 90-10 Sports. Find out how Michael continues his mission to help athletes become ambassadors for themselves, their family, community, and country.
Hello and welcome to the talk show, Life Stories with Marc Hoberman. Joining me today is former professional football player Michael Blair. Blair, as he's known, will talk to us about his life in sports, as well as starting off in journalism and the many other experiences he's had throughout his career. Let's bring him on. Michael Blair, welcome to Life Stories with Marc Hoberman.
What's up, Mark? Thank you for having me.
So nice to see you. I know you like to be called Blair, so I'm going to address you as Blair. You've done so much in both athletic and business career, but I want to know how you went from tossing the ball around with friends to becoming an NFL player. I taught for many years and everybody said, I'm going to be an NFL player and I'm going to be a pro basketball player. Okay, what's your plan B? I don't have a plan B. So what was your start in football from, kid to the pros?
Yeah. I said the same thing, right? I sat there on the couch with my dad. We were watching TV, actually watching the Bears, 85 Bears. And I was like, Dad, that's what I want to do. My father's being from Jamaica. He is like, that right there? I was like, yeah, football. And then he laughed at me. He said, that's not football. He's comparing soccer, what we call soccer. Yeah. He's like, that's not football. Football is where we play in Jamaica. And so that lovely banter. And then I was like, no, but that's what I want to do. And he said, okay, you got to work hard, but you can do it. And I was like, all right, great. And then next thing you know, we went to go find Little League to go play in. And I started playing on the streets. Right. That's the first introduction to American football. You're on the street, you play on the playground, literally on the street, cars driving by, you got to stop the game and then step out the way. And then they get back on there. And then we get back on there and start playing again. And from there, Little League football with Dalton Bears football, and went to Thornwood High School, played there, played running back and DB, surprisingly, right? And then from there, I got the opportunity to play at Ball State University, and from Ball State, then the NFL. So, the storyline sounds nice and simple, but definitely not, right? Got to get up every morning, got to work out every day, you got to choose another sport, all that good stuff. So that's how it happened. Nice and easy.
Oh, yeah, sure. No problem. Easy peasy. And
right.
But also there was a lot of other interests along the way. Didn't you start out in journalism and art? There's a lot of other things that took place there.
Yeah, absolutely. As I was on this track of playing American football, my dad would always say, do not put all your eggs in one basket. Right? He would say that every day. Start thinking about things that you want to do. Start thinking about other things. And, this was from an early age, right? And so from knowing that, I said, okay, well, what do I want to do? I asked the question, what do I always wanted to do? And to answer that, first it was paleontology. So I wanted to study dinosaurs coming out of high school. And took a geology class, Mr. Beaver, and fell in love with geology. I found out about the dinosaurs and the geology and things turning into rocks from wood being petrified and things of that nature. And then Ball State didn't have it. They actually had geology, so I took that. Now, got to a class called geomorphology, study of land evolution, a bunch of math in there. Math is not my strong suit at that time, and I had to switch. And I made that switch to actually zoology. So I wanted to do anything with animals, right? I wanted to be at the zoo, work on the medical and things of that nature. And then when I got to the zoology class, what do you call it? I was a semester too late. And then from there, journalism, graphic design. I knew I wanted to do something that was in the creative zone, uh, creating commercials, creating advertisement in some kind of way. And so I was drawn into the uh, journalism, graphic design world. And that's when, things start to be nice and sweet for me. But I actually, in high school, I took 3 years of radio and TV.
Interesting. So media,
That's
you did learning to interview, things like that. That was part of journalism, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So I learned how to do interviews, learn how to be the interviewer and the interviewee, right? Um, learn from being on the switchboard, learning to say camera one, camera two, just having that confidence to give directives, right? And so in high school, you struggle with those things. Some people are kind of shy. They
Yep.
really don't know how to be as vocal and be as assertive to make things happen. And so in this radio and TV class, everybody had that opportunity to be the lead producer. And so we had to give direction. So we had to be in that position. And so once that I became comfortable with that and understood how it is and became a student of your craft, it became easy, right? It's just a conversation. It's just me and you right now.
Exactly.
So,
And
yeah.
well, you talk about being assertive, and I know you went from a professional player to now the president of the Chicago NFL Alumni Chapter. So how did that come about, and what are your responsibilities within that role?
Yeah. So it came about once I was done playing and I got back into came back to Chicago about five, maybe 10 years passed. And 3 years ago, the opportunity to be the vice president came about. And so I was voted in to be the vice president. And then through the pandemic, we tried to do things. I was learning as we went along. And then the term was up and they said, well, do you want to be the president? And I was like, no, I'm good. I don't want to be the president. It just looks like it's just too much stuff to do. No, I'm good. And then, I sat down with one of my buddies and had a conversation about, how important it is to be in this position. Because at one time you were in this position and you want to be there to be a resource and to help people. And I was like, you know what? I think I'll do it. And so that's the reason why that I accepted the role, is because I would like the brand to continue to be that resource for guys that transition back to the real world, to be that brand that helps guys and their families navigate through the things that they go through. And then also for the people, right? People who believe in our mission which is to take care of kids and to take care of our own. If they believe in that mission, then they can also become an associate member. And the third member is for enterprise. So businesses that believe, that want to help us with camps, that want to be a part of the golf outing, that want to have the experience that the NFL Alumni Chicago has. We can give that and provide that for them. So that's it in a nutshell, right? It's just
Right.
being a Sherpa for those people that come behind you.
Well, you've carried over knowledge and information, as you just said, because I was an educator for over 30 years, and your work with 90-10 Sports, it's really near and dear to my heart. What motivated you to start that company? And tell our viewers what that's all about.
Yeah. So me on a personal note, I remember my last game. I spent 10 years professionally playing, 4 of it in the NFL and 1 in the XFL, 1 in the NFL Europe. And the last 4 years was arena football. And I remember the last year sitting in the car with my brother, my older brother, crying, not knowing what to do. Here it is. I don't even remember the age. I think I was 33, something like that, in my 30s. And I didn't know what to do. I was like, what am I supposed to do? The only thing that I know how to do is play football. That's it. It's the only thing I know how to do. And, you know, that's the mindset that you have. But he was like, no, you know how to do more. You've done all of these things. You went to school. You went to school for journalism. You continue to write. You write stories. So he's clearing up the clutter by having a conversation. So that was the first thing, right? Having a conversation with somebody and telling them what's going on in your mind, which clears up that executive function clutter, right? So from there, I started coaching, and coaching high school football helped me in the transition from playing professional and then weaning myself away from being a professional athlete. So that was huge. So I recognized that and I said, okay, well, this helped me with the separation anxiety and this helped me with the depression. So I did that, right? And so 1 year I was done with, the season was over. And one of the kids that it was his senior year. So now this kid is what, 17 years old, right? And he comes to me and guess what he's doing? He's crying.
Yeah. What am I going to do after high school? And he's 17.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's the same conversation. So here it is. I'm in the position that my brother was in. And I have that experience because I went through it myself. So I said, after I had the conversation with him and I talked about the things that he knows, I talked about things that's going to come to him because we've been down that road. As the elders tell the stories, right? So they can help navigate the youth through their journey. And after I got done talking to him and on my way back to the car, that's where 90-10 sparked, right? 90% mental, 10% physical. That's how we play the game. Mm-hmm. And it's all about helping athletes in transition, right? So it doesn't matter what their age is. And how do you help them? You help them through executive function. You help them by being a resource. You help them with social and emotional. So it's cognition learning before they play sport. And then that's the 90 piece. And then the 10 piece obviously is the physical. And that's the sport that they play. And then we train athletes through athleticism and then, bio, talking about how the body moves and things of that nature. Everybody talks about bigger, stronger, and faster. But that's not how 90-10 sports starts out with the athlete. We talk about rhythm, harmony, and balance. And so that's so important, rhythm, harmony, and balance before you get to bigger, stronger, and faster. And so that's what 90-10 sports is all about. And that's how it started.
That's great. And what are the ages of the people who you work with?
I worked with as young as 3. Yeah.
That's a parent that doesn't want to pay for college. Get this kid in shape and you get me a scholarship.
Well, what happened was his brother at the time was 7 or 8. And the little kid was just standing there and I said, hey, come on over here and follow your brother. Mm-hmm. So I said, do what your brother does or is doing. And he did it. And so the next day he came out there, I didn't have to say, do what your brother is doing. He knew exactly, when I said dorsiflex, he knew exactly what I was talking about. When I said, pick your knee up, he knew exactly what I was talking about. Mm-hmm. So it was crazy. And so I worked with his brother, which is the baby, which was 3, and his brother, which was 7 or 8, something like that. But the oldest is, I think 60. It was just a gentleman who he wanted to stay biomechanically efficient, mm-hmm. which is important. And so I helped him out with that.
That's great. And, we hear about, it's very interesting when you talk about the ages, the 17-year-old who was crying, the 33-year-old. So you get out in the workforce in something outside of sports. And when you're 33, you're about 10 years into your career. And then you say, okay, now let me plan for the next 20 or 30. Let me meet with my money manager. Let me talk about investments. And you're a 33-year-old saying, okay, my money's over for now. and what am I going to do to take the
Right.
next step? And I always thought the same thing should happen with celebrity teens or youngsters, that they should have either a psychiatrist or a psychologist or somebody with them to advise them and mentor them as you have done, because
Right.
it's not so easy out there. And sometimes the parents get a little money hungry, and sometimes things don't go the right way. And like any other business, and sports is a business, there are your great people, there are your not so great people, and you really have to advocate for yourself. So, you joke when you say, yeah, the whole big thing, easy, the whole this thing, easy. But what
Right.
obstacles did Blair have to overcome to become successful?
Not doubting yourself, right? Because it starts with you first, right?
Mhm.
Because you're responding to something. You're responding to someone saying no to you. You're responding to someone who's saying maybe.
Mhm.
So it's how you respond to it, right? It starts with the cognition, right? The ability to learn and to process this information. And so uh, that the mental obstacle is basically that's the hardest thing, and believing that you can do this. The other obstacle is patience, right? You have to fight that urge of wanting it now, and without knowing. Okay, and so that's obviously hope, right? And so those are the obstacles. Everything else is, in my opinion, I'm not gonna say easy, but everything else can be set up. But if you don't plan, so I coach chess, right? And I'm the head chess coach for the high school here. And I've been playing chess since 98. Okay. And everything in chess that you learn helps. That's my secret. Everything in chess helps because it's not knowing the 3 steps before. It's actually knowing 6 steps, right? So 3 steps is I I say something to you, you respond, and then I give you back something else. That's 3. So I ask you, you respond, and then I respond to what you told me. That's 3. But you need to have 6. So after that happened, what is the next 3? Do you have those questions in line? And a lot of time people don't. Do you know why? Because they have not planned. And so the question, well, what do you mean plan? Planning means you have to actually create a business plan for you personal. We create business plans for entities and say, oh, we're going to have this entity and this is what you need to do. And this is how much money you need to have. And you need to ask for this and things of that nature. But we never do that for ourselves. Right. And so knowing that you are the CEO of yourself, the COO of yourself, the CFO of yourself, and then how do those things apply to your life at this moment? And so early in my life, to answer your question, is what are those obstacles? And basically is the obstacles of you not knowing the rules to the game. And when you're growing up, you don't know the rules. Somebody has to tell you, and you have to listen. And if you don't listen, it's not you're gonna have obstacles all day. You're gonna be frustrated. And once again, it comes back to you. So
Well,
the faster you,
I have to jump in on that because I've
yeah,
asked that question of many guests. And as an educator, author, talk show host, business person, I'm so happy with your answer because none of it was based on anyone else. People have said, I had this guy who put me down. I had this manager who wouldn't give me a chance. And the biggest thing I've seen in the last 5 years that I taught was entitlement, not holding yourself accountable, not holding others accountable for how they treated you, and holding yourself accountable for how you treated yourself. So I think that's a tremendous philosophy. And I hope the viewers really understand the liquid gold that you just offered. So you're not done yet. You're just getting started. So let's hear the secret. What's next for Michael Blair?
Oh man. So what's next? I got a lot of things coming up. Which one
I'm
you want to
shocked.
start? Yeah. All right. So if we start with the NFL alumni, we have the golf outing that's coming up. That's what we're prepping for now. We also have a heart screening that's coming up for the guys. That's coming up. So I'll get back to you so you can push that date out for me.
Sure.
If we if we're talking about chess, I have a chess tournament coming up for kids in Jamaica. They're going to come to the U.S. and play. Some kids here, I'm going to ask maybe 8 to 16 kids, because when you have a table is 8 boards, and that's how you create a team. And so we're going to have maybe 2 teams and then see how that goes. Well, that chess is under 90-10 sports, right? I want to get back to Jamaica and have, before COVID, I had a game that was called the Paradise Bowl game, right? And so that game was to have high school kids and grown kids go to Jamaica and actually play in a game with kids that are in Jamaica, right? And so COVID happened and didn't shut it down. I had to stop it, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to come back. Just had to figure out how to make that happen again.
So unbelievable stuff, and I'm sure there's going to be more to come, and I'll try to get that information in here as well. So just Michael Blair, thank you for joining us today and sharing your passion and all the experience you've had in sports and business, your philosophy. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you for watching Life Stories with Marc Hoberman. To contact Marc, email him at info@lifestorieswithmarchoberman.com or visit him on social media through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Thank you for watching Life Stories with Marc Hoberman.